Ladies and gentlemen, the Call of Duty Vanguard Alpha has been out for a day now, and I've looked at every single setting to see which one is the best one for you. Again, there is a bunch of different settings compared to Warzone, so we're going to be looking at each and every one of them, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will slay. So starting off, we're going to be in the controller section. Now, this is where things immediately get a little bit interesting. For my horizontal stick sensitivity and vertical, I did realize that 9.9, it basically works exactly the same as Warzone. Like, the sensitivity is the same. Now, this is the important one as of right now, just for the alpha. So for the ADS sensitivity multiplier, this is just like the general one, right? There is no high and low zoom, but I'll explain this to you in a little bit. So for this one, I'm going to select 0.70. In Warzone, I believe it was like my low zoom was like 0.65, and then my high zoom was like 0.80, but 0.70 seems to work really good for me. I use tactical flipped, and again, all you have to do is click here and click tactical, and then here at the bottom where it says flip all L1 with R1, I do switch it, and this is very important. I do like switching it, even if you do play with L2 and R2, and you are playing on a PlayStation 5. Let's just go into this setting really quick. Turn off this trigger effect. I mean, it's kind of cool, like at first, right? Because what it does is basically your triggers on the back, they feel different, like when you're shooting and you get a little bit more clickability. Like, it feels like it's a real gun. But as far as gaming mechanics, like when you're actually trying to be better at the game, this doesn't help you at all. And then obviously all this invert vertical look, whatever, just like have this completely off. And then for the aim response curve tab, I've always been a dynamic kind of guy. This you can just search, use whatever you want. Are you a linear kind of guy? Use linear. Are you a dynamic? Use dynamic, but I'm a dynamic kind of guy. Control vibration, I always have it on. I feel weird if I don't have it on, but that is going to be on. And then for the target aim assist, they got two kind of aim assist, right? So they've got one that is without aim assist, like without aiming down sight, and then the other one while ADSing. And again, both of them you just want to select on. And then I like the default one, which says default Vanguard, but if you guys see right there, it says this aim assist type is also the default in Call of Duty Warzone. So if you use default, I believe all these are exactly the same except the last one, the Legacy Black Ops. We're gonna have to do some more testing. We're gonna have to go into some custom matches to actually test the difference between this one and the other ones, but it's kind of hard to test right now when the players aren't standing right in front of you. And then obviously for the airborne mantle, leave this in manual. You don't want automatic. This means that if you just barely go like next to a ledge, your dude would automatically vault over, and you definitely don't want that because it's gonna get you killed. And then remember, for the auto sprint, always use auto attack sprint or just automatic sprint, but this will definitely save your controller a lot of health, and you will have to move your dead zone a little bit less often. And then sprint cancels reload, definitely turn this one off. This means that if you're in the reload animation and then you click the slide one, it'll cancel it. That's something that you do not want. Now there's something pretty interesting right over here. So we got the mounting, right? We got mounting just like Warzone, but something that we got is obviously we want weapon mount movement exit. That means that if you move backwards or something like that, you will exit out of that animation. But this one was, I believe it was in long, meaning that if you move backwards, you have to hold that a little bit until you exit that. But actually go ahead and select this to short. That means that while you're mounting, if you barely touch your player to move backwards, you'll leave that mounting. Now, you just have to be careful, obviously, to not move that by accident while you're actually beaming somebody, but this could actually save your life, and I'm kind of used to this short one. And the depleted ammo weapon switch, I guess, is always on. Slide behavior, hold, aim down sight behavior, all these just use hold. It's a lot better. Now, this is what we were talking about, the ADS sense multiplier. So before, they had low zoom and high zoom. Now, this is kind of like the PUBG. So you basically have an ADS sense multiplier for each specific zoom, even a multiplier while you're holding your breath, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. This is some in-depth customization, but the problem with this much in-depth customization is, in my opinion, I don't feel it was worth it. Like, I like the low zoom and the high zoom, pretty straightforward, right? Your weapons with red dots and your weapons with iron sights, and then your weapons with a higher zoom. This is a little bit too much. So right now, the way it's working for me, what I would suggest is use the high zoom and low zoom for Call of Duty. So basically, the low zoom was this one, right? Low zoom, 2x zoom, and 3x zoom will all will all be your low zoom. So try to keep these three the same, and then 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, all these ones, try to keep them the same. As you guys can see here, it's got like high zoom already. So like, if you don't want to customize each individual ones, you do have low zoom. Obviously this one is less than 2 times, so this one's a little bit different than Warzone, so just do be aware of that one. But they got low zoom and high zoom here. So if you don't want to custom each individual one, I really don't suggest you to change each individual one, because you don't want to have like imagine all these different sensitivity like settings. Is going to be really weird for you to get yourself used to it. So So I suggest just to change the top one, or just to do low zoom and high zoom and just keep those, because you don't really want to have all these sensitivity settings. And then all these is where it gets a little bit interesting. You also got the Deadzone, but for the L2 and R2 buttons, which are your triggers. Now, this one I've never really used that much, but you could obviously pull this all the way down. But just remember, if your button is kind of like messed up a little bit and shoots by itself, then you got to be aware of this. Like if it shoots by itself, then increase that Deadzone, and if it doesn't shoot by itself, then bring it down all the way down. And then you also got the Deadzone for your analog sticks, but you also have like inside Deadzone and then the outer Deadzone. As we can see here, the inside of Deadzone, we can see that that striped area, and then if we go to the other one, it's the outer area. Now usually with the outer area, like you don't really have that much Deadzone, because it's more of like the inner that it moves by itself. So the outer one, don't really touch it, but the inner one, again, if you guys don't know how to do it, just go ahead and set your sensitivity to max, and then once it stops moving, that's the Deadzone for you. I left it at 1010 honestly, and I didn't feel my dudes moving or feeling weird, so I just left it the way it was, to be honest. And then how to move forward, anything like that, just have this off. And then DoorDash interaction. I haven't seen any doors yet. I left it in automatic, but I don't know if like you're just in front of a door, then it'll open it, because sometimes you don't want that, right? Sometimes you want to be sneaky in the enemies. But so we'll just have to be aware of this, like when Warzone comes out or when more maps come out that have more doors in it. We'll see which one's better, either manual or automatic. But as of right now, I just left it there in automatic. And then for the graphics, mine does not, I mean, you do have 120 hertz refresh rate, but since I'm using an Elgato, I don't have the one that has 120 for refresh rate, so that's why I don't have it. Also, a lot of people were saying like, where is the FOV? Just don't be aware, like I'm 100%, 99.9% sure that the FOV will be when the full game comes out. It was the same with Black Ops Cold War. When the alpha came out, there was no FOV. I'm pretty sure they do this just to, I don't know, keep the game a little bit smaller. I'm not really sure why they do it, but also this game seems to be like incredibly low in brightness. I mean, it may be this map, but also like when you get shot, your whole screen is just like, I mean, red. So I did actually bump my brightness up a little bit. You can even bump it up a little bit more, because this map in specific, and when you get shot, it's just like really dark. So go ahead and bump your brightness up a little bit. Then you got like your color customization. Again, sometimes it makes it like a little, for example, like this one's the color filters, it changes the way they look. Again, this is kind of like your individual taste, I guess. They're kind of like filters. Just do remember to put both, because you have it in interface, and interface will only change like your things in your settings and stuff like that. So if you put both, it's going to affect the world as well, the way the game looks as well. So just remember to set both and then change whichever one you want. Also, this, for some reason, like it just doesn't work. So it says camera movement defines the percentage of some camera shake movement applied. So obviously we don't want any camera shake, right, at all. That's why world motion and weapon motion blur, remember to turn it off. But like I go least, right, 50%, no movement, everything's good. There's no except, there's no nothing. I go back, I click in here again, and it keeps moving back. So I don't really know if this is just like a glitch thing. Maybe like if I put default and then go back at it again, it just goes back to 75. So I guess you just cannot change this at all. And then we're going to go into audio, and the audio in this game is really weird. Like the footsteps are non-existent, but again, remember it's an alpha, so just don't be aware of that. Music was way too loud, so that's why I had to drop it down to 10. Dialogue volume 100, sometimes a little bit too loud. You might have to drop this down. Effects volume is the one you always want to have at 100. Remember, that's everything that goes in the game, like armor plates, reloading, footsteps, all that sort of stuff. Hit marker volume is also good. Maybe you don't want to have this as high, because you got the visual. Then the audio mix, remember, this just depends on your headphones, but I had Turtle Beach and I had boost low, and now I have HyperX and I'm with boost high. So the three ones I would recommend is just test between boost high, and boost low. And yeah, and then the kill streak music, I guess you could have it on, whatever. And then also, I also feel that the voice chat is like really loud. So in case, again, remember, you don't want to have it like really low. What you want to do is maybe you want to add an effect like the stealth comms. Remember, this will actually add like a filter to when they're talking, because I felt the voice chat was really, I feel some things in this game aren't balanced as far as the audio. Like there's no footsteps, but then there's some things in the game that are like really loud, and some things that are really low. So the audio is just, it's kind of messed up at this point. Again, it's just the alpha. Hopefully they fix it, because the audio is like like all over the place. It's just not in a great place right now. And as far as the interface, pretty much didn't change anything here. Only go all the way to the bottom and change your minimap to square, and then your minimap rotation is on. And ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Let me know what settings you got different than mine. Let's get into some smack.